Winston Churchill is often credited with the saying, "A lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get his pants on." Or maybe it was Mark Twain. I don't really remember who said it. Or was it Taylor Swift? Who knows anymore? The point is, we will likely never eradicate misinformation or disinformation fully, and expecting social media platforms or governments to regulate it creates its own set of challenges. So what can we, as consumers of this information, do to ensure the content we take in or share is accurate? How can we take control of our own decision-making? Okay, guys, let me ask you this. What role do we as consumers of information have? Claudia, I'll let you start.
Role of consumers information. I mean,
just doing research on our own?
Yeah, doing research. I mean, one way, if you want to really just cut social media out of your life altogether so that you're not getting that misinformation anymore.
Is misinformation the only cause of it? Could be news too.
I mean, it could be news or yeah, it's hard because then it's where do you get your information from?
Well, there's the question. Josh, I'll throw it to you. What do you think?
Something that I think would be interesting for social media platforms in general, just to bring about, would be, it's kind of like the dark mode, light mode on your phone. Have normal mode, which is your algorithm, and then have the exact opposite from a switch of a button.
Oh my God.
Where you can literally go and you can get the opposite information. I would spend time looking at it.
Or turn off the algorithm.
They won't do that. They won't do that
because it doesn't make them money.
They won't do that. But just having the ability
for these real estate agents.
Just, but having the ability to go and say, okay, look, I want to dive in on the other side. It's not going to show up naturally on my feed. So let me go to the other side.
Right. What questions should we be asking about the content that we see? Anthony, what do you think? Just to kind of challenge
I always question the source. I always question the source of where it's coming from. If it's coming from a political fundraising letter, I know exactly that it's baloney. If it's coming from a trusted journalist that I've been reading probably since I was 23.
You value the opinion?
I value the opinion, but I also value the fact-checking and the real journalism. If it's coming from a news network that I watch, that is even debatable now because of, corporations now controlling parts of the media. Right. So I think the answer to your question is always question the source of where it's coming from and what's the intent of publishing this article.
How do we avoid misinformation and disinformation from coming up on our feeds? It's tough, but how do we do it? Josh, what do you think?
You can't.
I mean, you can't, but at
you
the
could
same
always look up other parts of
This is the thing. If you start noticing that there is someone popping up on your feed where they're spreading disinformation, not only go and unfollow them, but block them, right? So that's something that will help technically with the algorithm, but
do you think, let me ask this, should freelance journalists, like people who have 1 million followers on TikTok, should they just be allowed to post whatever they want without being regulated like journalists on a news program?
That's how they got there, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, but this is the way that I look at it is the moment that they go and they put a regulation on it so that they can't do what they were doing to get there, they no longer have a guarantee that they're going to stay there. Right? So it's just what becomes the point of trying to build up that audience and all these different types of things.
It's tough, but you see a lot of people who just post a lot of misleading information. Look at clickbait thumbnails on YouTube. That's a simple version.
But that's where he was saying is that, for me personally, if I'm looking at some information on TikTok, I'm going to make sure that the person that I'm getting the information from, I agree with more than 90% of what they're saying. Because if not, then why take their information as truth?
Anthony, I know you do a lot of research on news, politics, economics. You're a very knowledgeable guy. Leave it off with this. Where do you find the most accurate information you can?
Where do I find the most accurate information? I love watching the news. I love reading the newspaper, and then I love just diving into the topic. So if we're talking about inflation. So I love listening to what the news has to say about it, and then I want to dive into what the actual causes of inflation are. I'm not going to listen to a politician tell me that because they're going to tell me it's that person's
fault.
fault.
And then make up your own mind on it.
That's how I've always arrived at what I believed my truth to be, and I want to leave it with this on my point is I will. I'm doing my best. So here's the thing.
I got to cut you off.
No, you can.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's such a good point. Next episode.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We may have access to more information than generations before, but with it comes an increase in inaccurate information. So it's important to develop our critical thinking and media literacy and seek open dialogue. By examining our own assumptions and seeking both sides of a story before we share, we can help create a more accurate, informed society. But we want to hear from you, especially if you disagreed or feel we missed something important. Join the conversation at My Generation on all social media platforms. We invite you. And with that, we'll end off with this. Do not simply accept what you are told. Challenge your thinking, engage in differences, and listen to new perspectives. Thank you.